First, I want to tell everybody thank you for your patience this morning. You know, we're in an apartment complex. It's extremely crowded with a lot of residents and stuff, and so it makes it challenging. I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick brief, and then when I'm done with this, if anybody wants to ask any questions about Amir, since we really haven't had time to talk about it, we're more than happy to do that as well separately, so we can let the community know what we've got going on with that. So this morning at about 8:44 a.m., the Austin Police Department received a disturbance between a male and a female. At 8:47 a.m., the department received information that if police is called, the subject would run at cops with a knife. At 8:49 a.m., officers arrived on scene here at 12501 Techridge Blvd. At 8:54 a.m., 5 minutes into this call, officers first encountered the subject holding a high-powered rifle, walking around the apartment complex, and they initiated a citywide officer needs assistance call. The subject is a Hispanic male, and officers immediately put together a containment plan and set up a perimeter. About 9 a.m., the officers gave several verbal commands which the subject did not comply with. Telling him to drop the weapon. I've actually listened to audio and watched the video, and a lot of this incident was actually captured on video. I can tell you that the officers were calm. We were giving a lot of very specific commands to, we're here to help you, we want to help you, drop the weapon, and the subject never complied. The subject on more than one occasion actually raised the assault rifle at officers. The officers did not shoot on one of the occasions. At one point, officers deployed less lethal shotgun rounds, striking the subject to no avail. The subject was not impacted by it, even though he was struck. It didn't have any effect on having him surrender or drop the weapon. Subject then continued started running in the actual complex behind me. At one point, 2 officers fired rounds from the departmental issue rifles, striking the subject. The officers immediately, at about 9:03 a.m., after the officer-involved shooting, immediately began administering CPR to the subject, as well as utilizing tourniquets that we carry with us and treating the subject for his gunshot wounds. At 9:11 a.m., EMS and AFD arrived on scene and took over primary care with the subject. The subject was transported to Brackenridge Hospital at 9:13 a.m. and at 9:36 a.m. He was pronounced deceased at Brackenridge. The subject, the preliminary investigation has revealed the subject and his girlfriend lived here. They had a falling out, they broke up, and that probably led to some of his behavior this morning. Again, we have 2 officers involved in this shooting. The only person that was injured and struck by gunfire was the involved subject, who sadly has been pronounced deceased. He's a Hispanic male. I do not have an age on him yet, but we will, as soon as we know that his family's been notified, we'll release his name later on today or sometime tomorrow. As you can imagine, we have the Austin Police Monitor's offices here, the District Attorney's offices here, the Special Investigations Unit of the Austin Police Department are here, who will conduct the criminal investigation, as well as the Internal Affairs Division that will conduct the internal investigation. Residents of 12501 Techridge are being allowed to come and go, and we are facilitating their movement. And we just ask residents to please be patient. You know, a man has lost his life this morning, and it's really important for this community and for the involved officers that we conduct a thorough and complete investigation to present to the grand jury in conjunction with the District Attorney's Office and SIU. With that, I want to open it up to questions on this incident.
Chief, your officers clearly, from what you're telling us, tried to get him to surrender on multiple occasions, even to the point of with apparently the shotgun, beanbag shotgun type situation. What prompted the fatal shooting? Was he going back in toward his girlfriend? Was he going toward another individual?
Once the subject was shot with less lethal impact rounds, he struck less lethal impact rounds. He turned and started running down away from the officers. For some of the officers at that point, they fired rounds to stop him and contain him. Think about what's going on in this apartment complex. We have a guy that is armed with an assault rifle, who officers had tried for quite a few minutes to get him to surrender, to drop the weapon. He refused to do so. And then once he was struck with less lethal rounds, he and actually struck. He didn't drop the rifle, and I think out of fear for the folks in the complex and other officers on the other end of the complex, on the other side of the subject, they fired.
How many rounds did the suspect actually fire? Do we know, or a ballpark?
Subject, not aware of the suspect firing any rounds. We fired more than one round with the less lethal, at least two. It appears preliminarily as 2 rounds from the less lethal, which is the impact rounds from the shotgun struck the subject without the desired effect. Our officers actually did a great job of containing it from everything I've seen. They did a good job in terms of calling for SWAT. They did all the thinking. They did everything that we as a community, we as a department would expect in terms of trying to end this peacefully. But when you have all these innocent folks here, at some point, you know, they unfortunately did not turn out the way we would have wanted it to. What else?
In the past, you described situations as sound card, self-paper, suicide by. Was this a suicide by cop, or would you qualify this as such?
I would just say that it appears that the subject has had some issues before in terms of trying to engage in conduct that is deadly conduct that can lead to a fatal encounter with police.
Y'all have had APDs had encounters with this individual before?
There's a history there, but I'm not prepared to talk about that history.
Are you able to release a name at this point?
No.
Did he say anything to the officers throughout?
I couldn't hear anything on the video from him saying anything, but I could tell you that one of the things that I was telling our officers, it's important that we, when we're giving commands, and we try to keep calm, especially possibly this distraught, and our officers, from everything I've seen so far, actually did a really good job of not getting all escalating it. They were really, sir, drop the weapon, we're here to help you. I think they were even using his name, his first name, trying to make that connection to try to get this man to drop that assault rifle in that complex.
Did this individual have any legal history that would have prevented him from having
that's part of the investigation.
We'll take one last question.
That's part of the investigation.
Was the rifle loaded?
That's part of the scene's still being processed, so I don't have that information.
And then, Chief, just your reaction to your officers' actions.
Well, I can tell you they're very shaken up. It's one of them is actually a corporal who's been in the department for quite a while, and he's actually been in the department for 27 years. The second involved officer, the corporal, actually is one of the ones involved with the deadly shooting. The second involved officer has 8 years on the job, so he's a very well-experienced officer that deployed rounds from his patrol rifle. And the third officer that deployed less lethal munitions from his shotgun has 4.5 years in the department.
All on administrative paid leave?
They will be on administrative leave pending some further investigation.
Even the one fired not lethal?
That we will make a determination on a non-lethal one today. More than likely, no.
You want to talk about your officer now?
Can you talk about the importance of that training that you have, that these officers have for incidents like this where you have a suspect today?
Yeah, I mean, this is the last question on this, and we're going to move on. Okay, guys, because I already called it. You know, one of the things we always tell our officers when you have somebody armed, especially with that type of weapon in this type of environment where there's a target-rich environment, is we have to get resources on the location quickly. We have to contain the suspect quickly, and we have to make sure we do everything we can to safeguard the lives of our residents back here that, you know, are just minding their own business in our apartment complex, trying to go on with their day and their holiday here on Labor Day and have this tragedy. So I think based on what I've seen so far, the officers conducting themselves in a manner which is consistent with their training on
On the other subject, today really started off as a really somber, sad day. We have the escort to the mosque this morning for our officer. How difficult, you know, just starting this day, even before this incident, how difficult was this day?
I think it's been a tough few days. You know, it's interesting that when you think about police officers are the biggest gossiping crew of men and women you'll ever meet. It's